Welcome back to Speed Reels. Today, I will show you a 2018 thriller, comedy movie titled, Sorry to Bother You. Cassius, mostly called Cash, was an unemployed black American who was trying to get a job from a telemarketing company called BØ응. In an attempt to convince the employer that he was qualified for the job, Cash lied about some of his details in his review and even made the mistake of putting his friend's number as a reference. Unknown to him, his friend, Salvador, also called Sal, had also applied to the same company, and it exposed him. However, the employer revealed that he was not in need of someone with experience and all he wanted was someone who has initiative and can read. He then hired Cash and gave him a script he would always use when calling contacts. This made Cash very happy, and he returned home to prepare to resume the next day. Cash was so broke that he and his girlfriend, named Detroit, lived in the garage of his uncle's house. Cash even owed his uncle 4 months' rent money, and the rickety car he was driving was given to him by his uncle. However, Cash resumed to BØ응 to start work and his pay at the company would be based on commissions from the number of sales he made. Cash's job at BØ응 was to call random contacts and sell what the company asked him to sell to them. Cash tried to always feel as if he was in the homes of the people he was calling, but his lack of confidence made them hang up on him. After Cash had tried many unsuccessful calls, a man who was sitting beside him, named Langston, told Cash that one of the reasons he was not making successful calls was because of his black American style of speaking. He advised Cash to start speaking with the contacts with a white voice, sounding like he did not have any worries and didn't need the money. During an office meeting in which a new lady named Diana introduced herself as the team leader of the office, Cash asked if they would be getting paid more money, but the lady said no. However, Cash's question interested a fellow worker named Squeeze. Squeeze approached Cash and told him that a group of workers in the office were trying to get the employers to increase their pay and they could use his energy to push the movement forward. He then invited Cash out for drinks later to discuss it better, along with Sal and Detroit, who twirled signs, although she was an artist. At the bar, there was news on the TV about a protest against a company called Worry Free. Worry Free was a company that offered secure jobs, housing, and food to people for free, but they would not be getting paid for the work they were doing. However, a protest group called Left Eye believed that Worry Free's employees were being used for slave labor to cut back costs, so they frequently vandalized Worry Free's billboards across the city. While Cash and his friends gathered for their drinks, Cash made a toast in his white voice, which completely shocked the others, and he revealed what Langston had told him to them, claiming it seemed he was a natural at using a white voice. Squeeze then told them that the office needed a union, and that with the union they could ask for a pay raise from BØ응, to which they all agreed. As Cash and Detroit left their garage home for work the next day, Cash's uncle told them to start looking for a new apartment as even if Cash paid him the 4 months rent he owed, it would not be enough to clear his debts and the bank would seize the house soon. He also told Cash and Detroit that he was talking to Worry Free and would join the company if the bank eventually seized his home. This made Cash very sad and worried. Cash started to use the white voice at work, which started to make him lots and lots of sales. This made his boss very happy with him and he told Cash that he would soon be promoted to be a power caller. Power callers were also telemarketers, but they earned higher pay and enjoyed much better benefits. They had a special elevator for getting into their office, while normal telemarketers like Cash climbed stairs to get to their own office. Soon, Squeeze led all the callers to protest against BØ응 to give them pay rises, and every caller in Cash's office, including his girlfriend Detroit, who had joined as a part-time caller, agreed to the protest. After the callers successfully demonstrated their protest, the bosses called Cash into their office. He thought they wanted to threaten him for his part in the protest and started to tell them off, but they told him that his work had proven to be so exceptional that he had been given a promotion and was moving on up to the top floor reserved for power callers. This made Cash very happy and he celebrated with the bosses in their office, totally forgetting about his fellow office workers, with whom he had just protested the low pay. The next morning, Cash returned to BØ응 as a power caller and was taken to the top floor of the office where power callers stayed. He met with the head of the power callers, who told him to always use his white voice while being there. He also revealed to Cash that their biggest client was Worry Free and that what they did as power callers was to help BØ응 sell their workers to other companies. Cash was not sure if he would be able to work as a power caller, but when he was shown his starting salary, he immediately changed his mind, as he realized the money could help him solve a lot of his problems. Cash worked so late at the office that day that he forgot to go and pick up his girlfriend to help her set up her art studio. When he later went to meet her, he explained what had happened but left out the part that he would be selling for Worry Free as Detroit was a member of the anti-Worry Free protester group, Left Eye. The next morning, as Cash wanted to head into the office, he met his former office workers outside the office. They asked him where he had been, and he rudely told them he had been promoted and could no longer partake in their protests because he needed money to help his uncle pay his debts. This made Cash to have an argument with his friend Sal until Langston separated them. Cash made over $10 million for worry-free with his first call, and this made the power caller's boss really happy. Cash then asked for some advance payment so as to settle some of his bills, which his boss willingly gave him. Cash used this money to help his uncle pay his debts, change his car and apartment, and generally change his lifestyle. Cash became a big boy. One day, when Cash woke up in his new apartment and switched on the TV, he saw the news about his former co-workers at Regal View, who were on strike and were fully protesting against their low pay by blocking the path into the office. However, the power callers were able to enter the office with the help of security men. When Detroit woke up and he tried to greet her, he unknowingly used his white voice, which irritated her. He told her he didn't do it intentionally, and she said that was what made it a problem. They then had an argument about Cash being a power caller, selling slave labor for worry-free and abandoning his friends and former co-workers. Detroit then told him that if he followed the power callers inside the office that morning, she was done with their relationship. However, Cash refused to listen and, with the help of security men, was following the power callers into the office building, which made Detroit leave him. One day, while entering the building with the other power callers, someone from the protest crowd threw a can of drink on Cash's head, giving him a head injury in the process. A video of this incident was uploaded on the internet, and it made Cash become a laughingstock. That day, the head of the power callers informed Cash that the owner of Worry-Free, Steve, was interested in meeting him at Steve's party that night because he wanted to meet the telemarketer that had been helping Worry-Free make huge sales. He told his boss that he had to attend Detroit's art studio opening that night, but the boss told him that Steve's party was not a party he should miss as it could change his life. That night, Cash went to Detroit's art studio opening, and she told him to wait to watch her performance. Using her own white voice with a British accent, Detroit told the people in her studio that there are bowls filled with phones, bullet casings, and balloons filled with sheep blood that they can pelt her with as she recites lines from the film The Last Dragon. The people did so, and Cash became horrified to the point that he interrupted the show. Detroit then told him it was part of the show, and he left and headed to Steve's party. At Steve's party, after Cash was introduced to Steve, Steve told him he admired him because he was a genius and would not mind having him join his company, Worry-Free. As the party continued, Steve asked Cash to rap, but Cash ended up singing a useless song. Later on, the power caller's boss came to meet Cash and told him the way to Steve's office and that Steve was waiting for him there. When Cash made his way to the office, Steve offered Cash a line of coke before Cash asked to go to the bathroom because he wanted to pee. Steve then told him the way to the bathroom, but Cash entered the wrong room instead. While in that room, he heard someone asking for help in a stall. Cash initially did not want to help but eventually changed his mind and opened the door. From inside the stall, a half-human and half-horse monster fell out, crying for help painfully, along with other creatures just like him. Cash freaked out and ran from the room as Steve found him. Steve then explained that they are equisapiens, and he showed Cash a video demonstrating Worry-Free's belief that humans can be used as tools for their own personal gain by turning them into equisapiens. The video also showed that the coke is the fusing catalyst that would cause the transformation from being a human to becoming an equisapien. This freaked Cash out, as he remembered Steve gave him the coke to snort. However, Steve was adamant that he had given Cash regular coke and not the one that would turn him into an equisapien. Steve then made a proposal to Cash, telling him he needed Cash to be an equisapien that would act as a leader while indirectly working for the company, with the promise of $100 million. He also promised Cash that he would only have to be like that for 5 years, after which he would be given an antidote that would restore him to being fully human. Cash firmly refused the offer, and he walked out. The next morning, Cash woke up panicked, thinking he was still high. He couldn't find his phone, but he used his cell phone to call some media outlets to expose what he had seen at Steve's house, but he was ignored. He then called Detroit to check his manhood for him after thinking he had started to mutate, but she confirmed he was still the same. Detroit then showed him a video on her phone. The video was a message that had been sent from Cash's lost phone. The video showed the equisapiens begging for help before Steve came in and threatened to turn them to glue. Cash then planned to expose Worry-Free with the video by going on a popular show called I Got the Shit Kicked Out of Me. Cash subjected himself to humiliation by getting beaten up on live TV before being dunked in a tank of actual shit, as they do on the show, before they played the video on his phone. Cash also went on many TV shows to continue to expose Worry-Free. However, the video only brought in good publicity for Worry-Free, sending their stocks soaring and making other crazy people see Steve as some sort of messiah. Cash became even more of a laughingstock. Cash soon reconciled with Sal and Squeeze after enduring all of his recent trauma. He also reconnected with Detroit, who revealed to him that she had been having an affair with someone else, which didn't bother Cash because he didn't realize it was Squeeze. Cash joined his friends and the rest of the Regal View callers who were still protesting. They were also joined by a large number of protesters outside of Regal View's building. A police SWAT team tried to break them up, but the protesters held them back using statues from Detroit's show, as well as football players from Cash's high school. As the riot grew more chaotic, Cash and his friends went to hide, but one officer found them and knocked Cash out. Cash then woke up in a police van and watched as the madness of the police against the protesters continued to unfold. One police van attempted to run over a group of protesters, but the van was suddenly being pushed back by some people, and it turned out to be escaped Equisapiens, who Cash had broken out earlier, who managed to overpower the police with their superhuman strength. The lead Equisapien, named Demarius, freed Cash and his friends before he and his mates retreated into the night. After the protest, Cash moved back into his uncle's garage, but he redecorated it to look nicer. He gave the nice car that he bought to Sal as an apology gift and got a smaller car. However, when Cash and Detroit entered their garage apartment and Cash closed the garage door, it hit him on the nose, and when he looked up, Detroit looked at him and discovered that Cash's nostrils had turned horse-like. Sometimes later, Steve was in his house when he saw that there were some people at his gate. It turned out to be Cash. Cash forcefully opened the house's door and neighed loudly. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications for more videos like this.